Afternoon, everybody. Please do confirm. Give me a thumbs up if I am audible. Can everybody hear me? Right, super. Thank you so much for confirming. Right, so I would like to take this moment to welcome everyone for joining our monthly Think Thursday session. So my name is Dineo. I'm thrilled to see so many of you online. And I see that some of you have already started introducing yourself in the chat box. So welcome everybody. So if you just joined or you're new to this meeting, we usually introduce ourselves on the chat. You confirm who you are attending with and which whole site are you coming from. So it's always nice to see some of you coming from different locations, some of you from Western Cape, Limpopo. All right, so whether you're joining us for the first time or a regular attendee, we are grateful for your presence and your commitment throughout the past Think Tank Thursday. We've also joined us. So please make sure that you're also muted, right? Before we can start, we need everyone to be muted so that it doesn't cause a bit of disruption and that the session runs smoothly. And yeah, so today's session, it will be talking about harnessing the power of transformation. So we want to spotlight incredible impact in driving change and empowerment. And we are excited to announce our guest speaker for this meeting, which is our co-founder, Erica Kempken. But before we can get into details, and take you through this exciting topic of today's meeting, let me just go through the chats and see who are the people online. So if you just joined, please also confirm your attendance in the chats. And if we have any supervisors, please also confirm. It's always lovely to see our youth alumni joining online, as well as our supervisors. Right. I see Gabriel Masha from Ramzilo. Thank you for confirming. Welcome to the meeting. Greetings, Tandega from Daily Credit. Welcome, Anele, also from Daily Credit. Andisiwe from Gush Media, Buitumelo, Sianda Class joining with Kanyisa Beta, welcome. And then there's youth coming from Imperial Designs. We have the supervisor, Bafente, as well as the youth, Tenolo, Esther, Labuhang, Monica, Glenn, Prince, and Romeo. Oh, such a lovely group joining us. Thank you for confirming. Tembi from Pomalanga. Hi, Lorraine, Sandy Siwo, Hendrik, the supervisor from CAP in Swellendam, Western Cape. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Right, Nkile, welcome. Sonia from GTI in Cape Town, Andrew from Limpopo. Thank you so much for representing Limpopo. Welcome. Bunolo from Accelerate in Centurion, Gauteng, Sanitolo from Daily Credit. Welcome. Thank you so much for confirming your attendance in the chat box. Buitumelo coming from Wits University. I see there is Wandile, the supervisor. Welcome, Wandile, from Impilo Life Community. And sure, there's quite a lot of you on the chat, so I won't be able to go through each and everyone's name. But thank you so much for putting your names in the chat box. All right, and from Western Cape, there is Lubabalo Krai, Nomnyama Mateza, Somila Dodo. Welcome. Thank you so much. Martin from Innovatec. Lisedi from Civil in Rustenburg. Thank you for confirming. Mbulelo from City Panel Beaters. And then there is Anati and Nwabisa from Cross 7, Aseva from Soma Workshop, Nongeba, welcome, Rose from City A, Hollard, and then Nontlantla also from City A, Refematla coming from Cape Town. All right, I think we can then start. Hey, Erica, are you online? You are muted. I'm not sure if you are able to hear me.
Hi, Danielle. I am online, yes. I'm just struggling a little bit to share my presentation, but
Okay, we will give you a minute. All right, keep your
uh,
comments coming, guys. Zalinda from George in Fancock, thank you for joining us. Dolly from MDS, Selby, Christian Tabazimbi, Anele Kezikona from Cape Town, thank you so much for confirming. And if you're also an alumni, you're joining us, let us know on the chats. Let's see you. Leah, welcome. Katle Jessica from Mokopane Auto Center. Nosy, also from City A. Tepiso from Limpopo. Witumelo from Mercedes PLC. Right. And then there's Kopano here in Johannesburg. Bohang from Cape Town. Do we have any youth in Mpumalanga? I've seen a lot of youth are coming from Western Cape, KZN, and also here in Gauteng. Oh, there we go. We have youth from Eastern Cape under Cheaper Agri Services. Kanya, I see you. Welcome. Miranda also coming from Eastern Cape. Oh, lovely.
sorry, Danielle, I am struggling to share my presentation, but I have got Abby here to help me. So I hope that within the next few seconds we're on track.
All right, not a problem.
It's not allowing me to share the window. That's my
All right, keep your comments, guys. If you just joined, remember you confirm on the chats. Let us know which host side are you coming from. Are you joining alone? Are you with your colleagues or are you with your supervisor? All right, Ronewa, based in Gauteng, Midrand under Zensola, Milogutle from Durban, Leslie from Limpopo, Edgar also from Midrand. Okay. Right, I'm able to see your screen, Erica.
right. Thank you very much. Okay, we are on track online, and I hope that the screen is sharing.
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Okay, and let me go into slideshow. There we go. Okay, right, all good to go. Thank you very much. So welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us this Thursday afternoon. It's my absolute pleasure to be here with you and to present this particular presentation. So the topic is harnessing the power of transformation, and I really welcome all of us, all of you, just to get into the zone of dedicating this hour, not to think about anything else, but to think about what it is that you are doing, what it is that we are doing, what it is that we can collectively do more of. So today is really a day for introspection, for reflection, and for seeing where we fit in. First of all, we're coming into Women's Month, or we are in Women's Month. And one of the statistics dedicated by the United Nations is that when more women work, economies grow. Women's economic empowerment boosts productivity. It increases economic diversification and income equality, in addition to other positive development outcomes. So maybe before we go on, just a comment from everybody. Why do you think the economies grow when women work? And you can put it in the chat. Daneo, I can't, yeah, there we go. I'll see the chat between, and I'll go between the chat and that. But why do you think economies grow when women work is the question. And I'd really like to see some of your answers. This is going to be quite an engaging session. It's not only going to be a presentation, it's really going to be some engagement. So any ideas? And if you can read the chat for me, Daneo, that would also help.
Jolene says women are focused and can multitask.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the economy? So, okay, even if the guys can't multitask as much, what kind of things are women doing in order to increase economic growth? So while you think about that, we will continue exploring this topic. And this topic really is about looking at, first of all, really influential women. And I don't know who you would consider a very influential woman, but when I was thinking about this, one of my key role models is Professor Tuli Madansela, and I will speak more about her a little bit later. But I'd also encourage you to look at someone called Yael Dackelbaum, and she's really been an amazing musician who has created lots of marches around the world for peace. And she terms it Women of the World Unite. And one of the focuses is that if women unite, then also there's not only economic growth, there's also less war. If they support the men, if they support societies for peace rather than war, then we can break down the barriers of violence and war with peaceful engagement from women. I will speak about Mia Motley a little bit later, but also just an interesting fact. Sanna Marin, the Finnish Prime Minister, was only 34 years old. So first of all, she's a woman, and secondly, she's still a youth, just like all of you. So in her youth and as a woman, there were no barriers to the highest political role that she could carry in the country. So it is possible, and our society is transforming to see that youth and women really do have a role in society. We will look at Siviwe Gwarube a little bit later, but maybe some of you have seen this picture or not. But this is Dr. Tererai Trent. And Tererai Trent has been an amazing woman. Just a little bit of background about her. She was married off by her family when she was 11 years old. And by the age of 18, she had 4 children. So it's really somebody who's come from a very poor background, very controlled background, and certainly absolutely no access to education. But despite her circumstances, she got herself to America and she started on a 20-year journey. And over 20 years, she has achieved her doctorate and huge success despite having been married off at 11 and 4 children under the age of 18. So Dr. Tererai Trent really stands as a beacon of hope. The statue that you see is in New York. It's not far from the statue of Oprah Winfrey. And here is this young girl from Zimbabwe, from a rural village, who has taken the international stage and a beacon of hope and a beacon of transformation, really believing in the power of education. So she transformed her life through education. Maybe as a poll, and Daneo, if you can pull that up in the meantime, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you believe that women in South Africa are treated with respect and dignity? And also, just as an interesting fact, how many women are on this call? How many men, how many women are on this call engaging in this kind of discussion? So, Daneo, if you can pull the poll up, and if we can just engage quickly, then we will take the conversation further. Okay, so we can see that there are quite a lot more ladies online, in fact, 66%, 67% versus 33% men. So is it that more women are working or more women are interested in engaging in a poll and putting themselves out there? Or are more women interested in participating in a session like this to see what is out there? So super. Thanks for that, Danelle. So we know that there are a lot more women either working or just in the session. And maybe the second poll now, if we can take that one off and look at the second poll to see, do you think that women are respected as equals? Yeah, and some of the chats really, when you empower a woman, you empower the whole community, you empower the whole society. So lovely to see that this is what you are thinking. So I see a no, I don't, but I don't know what that, yeah, I don't know if we can end that poll and take a new one. So is it possible to have a new poll up? Danielle, just let me know. Are you, oh, there we go. Ah, okay. Okay, so first of all, we've got this one. Who is your favorite female role model and why? Okay, so now we can see, let's see what you think.
Sorry to disturb, Erica. Can you hear me?
Yes?
Okay, I'd just like to make an announcement. Please do refrain from posting inappropriate content on the chat. You will be given a final written warning and taken off the program. Please do try to refrain from doing that.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
Erica. You
you.
may continue.
Okay. So I see there's quite a few of you who have responded, and Dania will look at that of who are your favorite role models. So we'll give you another minute just to put that in. Offensive, we'll answer some questions later. We're first going to run with this. Okay, so we've got quite a few have participated, so we're going to end that now. We're going to end that poll and continue with the results. And we'll do another poll a little bit later. Okay, Danielle will gather the information on the other side. So if we look at this and look at, do we believe that women in South Africa are treated with respect and dignity? Let's have a look what the statistics say. When we look across Africa, this was a study done by Gallup. In South Africa, the second column, you can see that we have declined and we are the society that believes that women are treated with respect and dignity the least. So here, men and women are agreeing that there really is very little respect for women and very little dignity for women. This is obviously a very concerning factor, considering that women grow the economy and they're doing many other things. Why are they not being respected? And why are they not being treated with dignity? And we can see in comparison to Kenya, there's 70%, 60%, 79% even in Tanzania, slightly less in Uganda, but in Zimbabwe also significantly higher. So we are well below what other countries, what other African countries, how they are treating the women. Also interesting to note that we are the one country where women feel least safe. They don't feel safe to walk at night. They don't feel safe to go out. And men feel a little bit safer. But a country, again, like Tanzania, Kenya, even Zimbabwe, everybody feels a lot safer and probably is a lot safer, even Uganda. So, but who is voicing their opinion? So women don't feel safe in South Africa to walk. They don't feel respected, and they don't voice their opinion. I mean, interesting to note that so would you voice your opinions to officials in Tanzania? The answer is from women is very low. In South Africa, that's a slightly higher, but even more men than women would voice their opinion. So despite the fact of women not being treated well, they are speaking up in relation to other countries. We are higher than Kenya and Tanzania on that. We also know that there's a lot of violence against women. Sub-Saharan Africa region has the highest level of domestic violence against women. And at least one-fourth of women in each country of focus said that they had experienced intimidation, partner violence in their lifetime. So there's an increase of violence against women by 1%. If there is an increase of violence, it reduces the economic activity by 8%. So let me just repeat that. If 1% more women are violated, the economy drops by 8%. So this is very, very concerning. In a country where there are no jobs, we need to create more jobs. This is indicating that you create more jobs by people feeling safer, and particularly women feeling more respected and feeling safer. So this really indicates that economic growth is in our hands. If this really is true, that the economy grows when women are respected and when women are not being violated, then it means that we in our families, we as women, men listening into the call, all of us can do something about this. This is not something the government has to tackle on their own. This is something that all of us can influence. So we directly can influence economic growth. One of our major role models is Professor Thuli Madonsela, and we do have women like this who are speaking up against human rights. She is a human rights lawyer and gender equality advocate. She speaks out about this. She's made lots of or assisted in making legislational changes that help change this dynamic. She really campaigns for gender equality and empowerment of women. And she is a professor of law, accompanying the Law Trust Research Chair and holding the research chair in social justice in Stellenbosch University. Just as a matter of interest, I would like to see, is there anyone online from the YES program who is based at Stellenbosch University and working under Professor Thuli Madonsela? It's just out of interest because we know that we do have YES youth there, and we really are quite proud of that, that we can place youth at a place like this where we know that we are helping in making those legislational changes. So if we continue then and we see, all right, so there is something being done about it, and we can see that in South Africa, despite the violence and the low economic turnout and women not feeling safe, we do have the highest percentage of the 5 countries over here where at national parliament level, there are more women on percentage basis than any other African country. So people like Professor Thuli Madonsela have helped change legislation so that advancement to high posts is possible for women, and in South Africa is not just possible, but it's actual. We can see that 47% of all parliamentarians are females versus 53% of them male. And South Africa ranks in the top 20 of women in national parliaments, with 45% of parliament seats being filled by women. So that is exceptionally progressive, and we should make note of that fact and really use it wisely. If we look at the percentage of women and men with an account in a financial institutions or mobile money services provided, because economic development also means financial advancement, we can see South Africa here is leading the chart. In South Africa, and especially amongst women, the majority, 86%, have accounts. So have got a bank, have got mobile access, and have got accounts in a banking institution, in a financial institution. That is hugely progressive. Look at that now against Tanzania. So Tanzania, where women felt respected and have earned 46% of them only have accounts versus 86% South Africans. Kenya is second in line, and the other countries fall well below. If we look at the chart on the right is access to internet, whether mobile phones, computers, or some other devices. So do people have access, one, to financial institutions, and on the chart on the right-hand side, do they have access to internet? And again, South Africa is leading. And here, there's slightly more men who have access to technology than women, but it is very, very close. And we are well ahead of Kenya, who is technologically probably our closer match. If we look at Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, way behind. So it's interesting that countries who lack behind in technology and in internet actually were the highest in terms of respect. So what roles do women fulfill in their homes? Generally speaking, they make choices. Women make a lot of choices about the type of food that is eaten in the home. Is TV on? What programs should the children watch? What are we going to do? Are the children on phones? Are they allowed to engage on phones? What social media do they engage in? What type of habits and rituals are there? Habits and rituals about, do we eat together? Do you eat with the plate on your lap? Do you eat while you walk? Do you sit together? Do you chat about the day while you're sitting down and having a meal? Or do you have a meal and everybody's on their phone? Do you allow phones? Do you not allow phones at times like that? What are the values of kindness, of tidiness, of timelessness? So if you say you're going to be home at 6 o'clock, are you at home at 6 o'clock? Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Where do you play? Are you allowed to play out in the streets? Do you play at home? What type of games do you play? Are you playing on practical games with your friends, or are all the games on your mobile device? Have you got hobbies? I mean, things like cooking together, reading together, playing soccer together, for the dads to really also participate in this and say, okay, I'm going to go play soccer with my child down the road. Are we going to go to church together? So what type of activities do we do together? And when shopping, what are we spending money on? Are we going to really buy that piece of clothing? Are we not going to buy the piece of clothing? And we look at savings. Are we going to rather save for school fees or school uniform, school books, activities at school? Is there a savings plan? Are we planning for those kind of things? And I know many, many women who are also saving and building the homes, possibly building the homes of their mothers, who they still want to cater for. So there is lots of decision making that is going on, of course, for men, but also for women, and particularly for women when they are caring for the children and when they are taking responsibility for the children. This is a high level of decision making. This is a high level of investment. This is a high level of choice that women are making, and therefore they are choosing where to spend the time, how to spend the time, and what to spend their money on. And if women are not participating in jobs, then it does not, one, give them that freedom, and two, get that money into the economy. And while we are speaking about jobs, if we look at the South African job market, 54% of women of working age in South Africa participate in the labor force. So those of us who want to work and are in working age, only 54% of them are in a job or inactive in the economy. There are percentage-wise, there are more men employed than there are women employed. And again, this is the question of the day. If economies are stimulated by women and not as much by men, we should really be reversing that trajectory and be looking at what else we could be doing. Sometimes the job market is influenced by the education level. So we know that there are some unemployed graduates, or graduates are also struggling to find jobs. However, the majority of the population are not graduates. So if you have higher education, the statistics show that there is more chance for financial security. So if you have a degree, There's more chance that once you do get that job, you will grow in that job, you will develop in that job, and you will have continuous employment within that job. So there's more financial security. Also, there's personal fulfillment, your dreams and goals. Like, I really studied to be a digital marketing person, and this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to see myself, and I'm passionate about it. Then you will engage fully in it, and you will grow and develop. If people are passionate and engaged and they've got financial security through that education, it also looks at a better society. A society that is educated on values, educated on how to do things, and just really has a mindset of problem solving and understanding the world, then we have a society that's more informed, less ignorant, and often more fair and more harmonious. Also, education grows economic growth. In South Africa, we look at how women enter the economy, but we also look at the low education rate and the low quality education rate that then impacts economic growth. Because there are job vacancies, but we don't have people with the right skills to fill the jobs. Or economy is growing so quickly, changing so quickly, the type of jobs are changing, so we can't pivot and re-educate ourselves quick enough. So having a base qualification, but constantly remaining agile and reskilling yourself, upskilling yourself, is vital for you to be able to stay in the game economically. And over and above that, we want to have personal development. We want to see that we remain interesting, we remain informed. And so ongoing education is really important for personal development, for peace and safety, and ultimately for freedom. Because through education, you can go online, you can find other work, you can engage, you can communicate with different devices or platforms or systems, and you have so much more freedom. So life is a continuous process of learning, and learning is not just something you only do at school. It's really this ongoing learning. Learning also very, very much starts in the home environment. And if we go back to the previous slide, we look at if women are making choices in the home environment, that's where the start of the education is. What are we doing? What are we as parents doing in order to really educate our child? A lot of education these days is happening via media. So whether it's on TV, whether it's through your phone, whether it's on YouTube channels, a lot of the learning is taking place. So do you want your children to learn from you? Do you want them to do as you do? Or do you want them to learn what others are doing? For example, if a little child happens to go and scroll across and get really inappropriate material and looks at scenes that are completely not in line with their age and development, is that what you're allowing them? Or do you want to make absolutely sure that your child does not have access to content, to visual information way beyond their age? So learning often takes place now on devices. It's a combined learning between what they see that you are doing, what they see that others are doing, and what they see that's happening on TV. So all of that is learned education from different sources. It's really important that us as parents and even individuals look at our own development path, because looking at these devices, looking at this phone, does create tunnel vision. It allows you to think, to believe that what I'm seeing is reality, that what I'm seeing is what I want. And it doesn't allow you to really broaden out to all the aspects of learning. There is evidence that children who watch a lot of television during their early elementary school years perform less well on reading. And if you can't read and you have a reading deficiency, generally you won't grow and develop and advance that quickly. So there really is evidence around that the more TV you watch, the less you read, the less academic advancement you will have. And therefore that whole career pathing into this freedom that we're talking about does not happen. So it's very important that if women particularly, or if we make decisions in the home about food, about hobbies, that we also very, very much make decisions about media-free zones. And I know that it is sometimes we pressurized and we've got a lot to do and we need to cook and plan and do. And so it's easy if the kids are watching TV. However, please keep this at the back of the mind, that they are learning from the device, they're not learning from you. And also their vision is channeled to that and they're not getting stimulation from all around them. So we do want to create 3D learning and not only 2D learning interventions. And it's most important that we as decision makers make those decisions on behalf of the children. Yeah, this is another great role model, and it'll be interesting to see what rolls out. But our Minister of Education, Minister Siviwe Gwarube, is only 34 years old. So again, South Africa is really breaking international trends about putting a high percentage of women into very strong leadership roles and youth. So it's very, very encouraging to see that from a legislational point of view, we are really well advanced. And our Minister of Education says we must adapt, we must be agile, we must be reasonable and level-headed and mature, and frankly, be worth the trust that millions put in us by electing us to office. Now the rubber hits the road. So whether you're a Minister of Education and you've got millions who want to believe in you and see what you're doing, or whether you're a mother at home with one child, or whether you're actually alone at home and you're living your own life, we all have to be agile. We all have to adapt to the changes in the world. And we all really should be more level-headed and look at things the way they are. Question them, be curious, and look at things differently so that we become meaningfully engaged in the world around us. As a matter of interest, just to look at the statistics to indicate the out-of-school rate. So the sooner children leave school, the less chance they have for this whole economic inclusion and activity. And it's really encouraging to see that Sub-Saharan Africa has fallen from 40% of children not making the 12th grade to 23% in 2020. And I do believe it is even less. But in South Africa itself, we can see that we've got very favorable statistics. Only 7% of our learners, or up to 9% of our learners, drop out in primary school, and that goes up to 10. But in upper secondary school, we have 20 to 24% of our learners who drop out. It's still comparative to other countries in Africa, it's still relatively low. But in comparison to Europe, it's exceptionally high. And it means that almost 25% of the population will not and cannot engage meaningfully unless they really are like Tendrai Tarai, who has made it to become a doctor, even though she had no education. It takes exceptional courage to break this kind of barrier and to get out of the poverty cycle. So if you do not stay in school long enough, chances are you will remain in the poverty cycle. If you don't upskill yourself constantly and you are not agile to change, chances are you will lose out in economic growth. Another super amazing woman is Mia Amor Motley. And I really, really do encourage you to go on YouTube and listen to some of her speeches. She is by far one of the most known international leaders. She is the Prime Minister of Barbados and has been since 2018. And although Barbados is a tiny, tiny little island state in the Americas, this particular woman speaks on international stages about climate change, about monetary reform, about the global north and the global south, and about real worldwide legislation that can and needs to change for poverty alleviation, for adaptability, and for integration with education. So she's an amazing, amazing role model, and I do encourage all of you to go on YouTube and just listen to one of her speeches. She happened to deliver the Mandela inaugural speech in 2022, and really has been a visitor to South Africa and to Johannesburg specifically, and is really a fantastic world leader who I'd encourage you to have a look at. Now, one of the things that Mia Motley speaks about is the Bretton Woods Agreement. And this Bretton Woods Agreement is very key to why Africa is poor. Africa is poor because in 1944, there was a world legislation that took place, this Bretton Woods Agreement, that said after the Second World War, let's help countries that have been ransacked by war to build themselves up quickly. It also said that we need an international monetary fund and a World Bank. So although this agreement is no longer enforced, the trends on the World Bank lending and the monetary fund have not changed substantially. If you look on the right, the key points from Mia Motley is that there's really unfair lending practices. African countries pay higher interests on money loaned. They pay higher interest, almost 10%, where other countries in Europe pay 1% for lending. So therefore, there is economic inequality. The system perpetuates economic inequality, and it really favors economic policies and interests of developing nations, of developed nations, and not developing nations. And it also shows that Africa and the countries that are considered the global south are disadvantaged to the global north. We know that the power in UK, in USA, in Europe is very, very strong, but it remains strong because of unfavorable monetary practices that are being repeated. And Mia Motley is one of the most instrumental leaders in highlighting this and showcasing this to the world. Should she succeed, should we all succeed in changing this, it can bring a lot more money for development, and it can be a lot more money for growth, economic growth. We just have to mind our own business and look at what do we do about things like corruption. So lending and the economy go very, very strongly together. It's really a comparison with the first world countries against those of economic growth impact. If we look at first world countries who lend at 1% and have favorable payback periods, you can build infrastructure like roads and train networks, internet networks, mass programs, big schools, universities, all those things that cost a lot of money. If you are lending at 10%, it means you're repaying your debt before you can invest all of the money. So economic impact and growth is less if you are servicing debt. And in South Africa, we are sitting on 5.5 trillion rand in debt, 2024, 2025. So our debt levels limit the government's ability to invest in economic growth. It reduces investment, which holds us back economic expansion, and it lending at lower tax revenues, and the borrowing rates keep us in a debt cycle. So we know that our government has overstretched in lending, whether that be from COVID, whether that be from poor investments like the toll road system, whether it be from corrupt investments like the trains that we bought, all sorts of things that didn't fit our schemes. So we have got ourselves into debt. But let's not blame the government only. Let's look at this lending, purchasing. If, for example, you go out and spend 1,000 Rand on a fridge or any other item, a couch or whatever, and now you put a down payment down of 100 Rand, so 10% of the cost you've paid, which now means you need to pay 900 Rand back. So you tell them, I'm going to pay 90 Rand over 12 months, which means at an interest rate of 25% per year or interest rate of 25%, you're actually paying 1,200 Rand for that couch or fridge. So you're not purchasing at 100 Rand, you're purchasing at 1,200 Rand. And now you know that your fridge is there, but actually you don't only need a fridge, you need to send the kids to school, and now they need a phone, or you want a new phone, and so you buy a new phone, but you don't have all the money to buy the new phone, so you take the next higher purchase out. And so you keep on adding on higher purchase items, which keeps on meaning every month, before you can see what do I do with my money, you first have to service your debt. And so you have less money to spend. So households use their credit borrowing to cover increased expenses, but that means constantly they have less to spend. So their monthly income, even with expenses, higher expenses and costs raising, is going down. And that's how households get themselves into debt. So we've looked at world trends keeping us in kind of debt. We've looked at country trends keeping us in debt, but none of those we can directly do something about. What we can do something about is our own family money, our own spend that we can make something about. So, Paul, if you are ready and you want to present, or if you want to come and sit down here quickly, just leave your laptop, come and sit with me quickly, and just explain this slide. Because while we were sitting at lunch the other day, I was asking her what she was doing. And she was saying, oh, no, I'm looking at what to buy, but I don't want to buy it on hire purchase. I want to pay it via, just bring it to here, via the Just Pay. So I'm going to invite Paul just to speak to us on how does this work and what is the advantage of looking at purchasing something directly versus putting it on hire purchase.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all good. So I'm just gonna be short. So Pages Now, it is an innovative payment method designed for convenience and clarity. So it has steps on how you pay, and it's really simple to use. Also, so it's instant payment. Uh, that is why it's named Pages Now. It allows you to make immediate payment, right, at the point of purchase. No delays and no waiting. And then it is transparent in pricing. The cost of the transaction is clear and straightforward with no hidden fees or surprises. And simplicity, designed to be user-friendly, making financial management easier and more accessible to everyone. So it has a way on how it works. As you can see there, there's 4 steps on how it works. So but firstly, you'll have to download an app, which is Pages Now. After downloading, it'll just take you through on how you do everything. But also, for you to be sorry about that. For you to know that you qualify, right? You have to be a South African citizen, 18 years and above. You have to have a valid credit card or debit card, and then a valid email address, and also a cell phone number. So yes.
Cool. Okay, so thank you very much, Paul, for sharing that with us. And that's one of the ways that you can stay out of debt that we're not going to play that now because that's going to, so that you don't get into debt, but you keep yourself, you only purchase what you've got money for, you purchase it now when you need it, and you avoid that debt cycle. So now that we know how to get out of debt, we need to stay in a job. And most of us are working in SMEs. We're not working at corporates. Most of us online over here are working in small businesses. And small businesses really are the drivers of the economy. We estimate that up to 60% of total South African employment is sitting at SMME level, which means only 34% of people work for big corporates. weak for big corporates. This is amazing. This is really lots and lots of people are employed. Over 16 million are employed within SMMEs. And there is a huge increase that has taken place because of that. So now we are working in small businesses. As a small business owner, and if you want to market yourself to a small business, you really need to be able to do quite a few jobs. You need to be able to work well on the computer. You need to be able to communicate effectively. Plus, you need to be able to do the specific job they're asking you to do. So because SMEs are the drivers of the economy, it means the roles are becoming more diverse. And the roles that we are fulfilling are becoming more complex. We also do encourage you to really become entrepreneurs. And there's another statistic that we've done with all of you to see how many of you are hustlers. And I'm really, really proud to say that we know that about 34% of you are hustlers. And many of you are women. Whether you're selling perfume or you're selling handbags or you're running the tuck shop or you're doing clothing, whatever, you really are doing amazing work. So we encourage you to keep on exercising that muscle of entrepreneurship. I mean, I just want to share with you that Jacinta and I started this business just over 5 years ago. And this was not the first business that either of us had. I had opened 3 companies before, and I think she was in the 4th company in this one over here. And now we are running at scale. We are trying to really escalate and run at scale. And we've put 10,000 young people through the program. So 2 women who came together with an idea to start up a business and now have such great impact. If we can do it, then you can do it. If you are practicing entrepreneurship through your side hustle, then we do encourage you to register. We do encourage you to start your business, to look at how you manage people, how you employ more people in order to grow more profits, and really exercise that. And maybe the first business will not be that profitable. But in later years, when you really have got an idea and it's good and you want to do it, at least you've got experience. So business, there are lots of businesses that are closing, but let's just focus on those ones who are opening. So what we're saying is keep on learning, keep on remaining current. It's important of staying up to date, look at your industry trends, continuously remain curious. Have really good IT skills. And we've seen that South Africans have got access to internet, we've got access to banking. So our IT skills are generally good. And like Paul showed us over here, she's found out how can she do it smartly. And she can do it. She's got the device, she's got the technology, she's got the know-how, and she's interested in learning more. Very good communication skills. The more AI comes into play, the more the computer can do things, the more human interaction is being sought. So we have stronger and stronger need for really good communication skills, whether that be verbal or written. And part of communicating is also to listen. So the really interpersonal skills that we practice in relationships. And I'm going to bring that back to the conversation that we had in the family. If you're not talking to your child, but you're allowing your child to be on the device and kind of be focused on this device, you are not teaching them communication skills. So these kind of communication skills, we need to limit the technology in order to practice this kind of outcome. And to look at that, what we're all aiming for then is personal freedom and financial freedom. So if we really can stay economically active, whether we're employing ourselves or whether we are employing ourselves, being self-employed, running our own businesses or being employed, we need to remain interested, we need to remain informed, we need to remain constantly upskilling in ourselves so that we can have the ultimate goal, should be to return to a path of sustainable growth and shared prosperity without creating unstable debt levels. So shared prosperity, whether that's for your families or whether that's for yourselves, that you really have got freedom of choice and engagement opportunities. So that takes me to the end of the presentation, and I'd like to open it up to questions.
Right. If you have questions, guys, you can raise your hands.
Dania, I don't know if you've done the poll. If you can quickly put the poll in before everybody leaves, that we do understand that you're there, or did you have it there already?
All right. Which question?
Sorry?
Which question would you like me to pull up?
No, I'm sorry. I mean the attendance survey.
Oh, okay. I've already shared the attendance survey on the chat, so please do make sure that you do complete the register before you leave the meeting.
Okay, so all the ladies out there, what do you say about the session? What was interesting? What was new that you've maybe learned? Any other comments? As a woman, I loved it. Thank you very much, Sakil. I hope the men online also gain some value out of it. Okay, then Dania, over
Hi,
to you.
Erica. Can I comment?
Yes.
Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation and also for highlighting the impact that the women in our country are having, not only at work, but within our families as well. And also the importance of treating them with respect and also doing away with violence. Thank you very much, Erica.
Thank you. Tato, as a man, I loved it. Okay, you've made my day. Andiswa, yes, you open your mic.
And this way you can unmute. You're muted.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this because one thing I wanted to hear a lot from you about the learning and keep on learning throughout the whole process. Being a woman in entrepreneurship, I've had to come about people like undermining my approaches because I'm young and a woman. What advice would you give to me? Because I had to learn to have different ways to communicate so that I am heard and understood that I'm in this position because I know what I'm doing and I have the willingness to learn all the time.
Yeah, Andiswa, thank you. I mean, it's not easy, and I know sometimes the boardrooms over there with filled with men can be intimidating. But I think the most important thing is remain kind, honest, and just clear. You know, you're not asking for favors, you're not asking for anything else. You've got a very clear value proposition. You've got a product that is valuable, you've got a service that is valuable, and this is the price that you are charging. So just reaffirm again and again, it's about your own confidence in your product, and it's surrounding yourself with people who also believe in you. So those who are dismissive, those who don't see the value in there, that's okay. Just move them by and find those who do see value in them. So my advice to you is really hang in there. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Being a woman out there in business is not easy, but you can do it. There's lots of us who've done it. There's lots of role models out there who've done it. So it's about tenacity. It's really about the woman approach, which is fair. It's engaging. It's listening. Listen to them. Have your discussions about them, but engage in an open, honest, fair, kind, open-hearted way. And generally, you know, if you're smart and you're articulate and you are clear, you'll make it. Right, everybody. Then I really enjoyed presenting to you and preparing for this. I really would encourage all of you to keep learning, keep growing. Thank you for all the feedback and the lovely remarks. And yes, let's do Happy Women's Month. And also, I really want to thank all of you who've participated in the Mandela Day. We would love to hear from you what you've done on Mandela Day. We've got some great stories on social media that we've put out there. Keep going, keep sharing, and growing our network of beautiful work that all of us are doing collectively. And thanks to those of you who participated in the video competition. So look out for the next thing coming up in Women's Month. We will be reaching out to you. We hope to share your stories, a lot more stories of success, and just really remain resilient, remain open, remain learning. Never do we give up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Erica. And I've shared the register one more time on the chat. For those asking about the recording, this will be shared on our YouTube channel, so please do take note. Yeah, and if there's anything else, please do feel free to share. I also see that Ebenezer has also shared a message on the chat. If you have any queries about your registers that you submit every Friday, he has shared a WhatsApp number that you can contact for any assistance that you may need in terms of your registers. Right, and I think
Right, then open your mics, open your cameras. Let's see everybody. Let's do our joint goodbye-byes, our favorite part of the session. Where's everybody? Let me see you. Oh, I don't even see the office team. One of you, put your cameras on. Let's see. Danielle blocked you. Okay, bye everybody. Okay, so let's put reactions. Okay, you're not blocked from reactions, so put lots and lots of hearts on the screen. Let's go. Let's see those hearts.
thank you. Bye.
Okay.